the International Day of University Sports held at Kenyatta University were themed Safeguarding in University Sports, Advancing Safe, Inclusive and Development-Driven Athletes. The event was officially opened by the Kenyatta University Vice-Chancellor Professor Paul Wainaina, represented by Professor Bonaventure Okello. The Vice-Chancellor emphasized the need for universities to provide safe spaces for students who are actively involved in sports.
One, it reminds us that sport must remain a safe space, free from harassment, violence, discrimination, and exploitation. Two, it emphasizes inclusivity, ensuring that men, women, and persons with disabilities participate equally in sport.
Reports of abuse and harassment among athletes have been on the rise in recent years, with sports advocates noting that incidents of abuse against female athletes and those with disabilities are increasing due to victims remaining silent when they are harassed.
East Africa, that is Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, paints a troubling picture. The prevalence of sexual and gender-based violence in sports is alarmingly high at 62% across Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. In Kenya, it is even worse because in 2022 it was at 43, but in 2024-2025, our data shows that it was at staggering 69% of women who reported experiencing sexual and gender-based violence.
A call has now been made encouraging student athletes to speak up when they face abuse, while stakeholders and advocates in the sports sector are being urged to ensure inclusivity and safety for all athletes.
This year's theme, Safeguarding in University Sports, Advancing Safe, Inclusive and Development-Driven Athletes, invites us to look beyond the scoreboard. It challenges us to ask, are our sporting spaces safe? Do they empower both men and women equally? Do they foster respect, inclusion, and community growth? The answers to these questions matter because sport is more than competition. It is education, it is character building, and it is a powerful tool for social transformation.
The celebrations have showcased the commitment of universities and stakeholders in the sports arena to ensure a safe environment for student athletes, the goal being not only to achieve great sporting results, but also to safeguard the welfare and security of students involved in sports during their time at the university. Blue Smile Hassan, KUTV.
Role of sport in shaping the future of our youth, our universities, and indeed our society. This year's theme, Safeguarding in University Sports, Advancing Safe, Inclusive and Development-Driven Athletes, invites us to look beyond the scoreboard. It challenges us to ask, are our sporting spaces safe? Do they empower both men and women equally? Do they foster respect, inclusion, and community growth? The answers to these questions matter because sport is more than competition. It is education, it is character building, and it is a powerful tool for social transformation. At Kenyatta University, we believe universities must lead the way in ensuring that every student athlete has the opportunity to play, to grow, and to contribute without fear of exclusion, abuse, or neglect. This vision is closely aligned with UNESCO's commitment to advancing the Sustainable Development Goals through sport, whether it is good health, quality education, gender equality, or peace and partnership. Our celebration also comes at a very historic time. The East African region is preparing to co-host the AFCON 2027 tournament. This milestone is more than a football event. It is a reminder that Africa's sporting future depends on how well we nurture athletes at the grassroots, in schools, and in universities. I take this opportunity to thank our partners, UNESCO, NATCOM, Special Olympics of Kenya, our Vice Chancellor, and university leadership, the faculty, and of course, our energetic students for making this day possible. Your collaboration demonstrates that safeguarding sport is not the duty of one institution alone, but a shared responsibility. As you participate in today's panel discussions and inclusive sporting activities in the field, I encourage you to deeply share openly and reflect on how each of us can contribute to making sport safe, inclusive, and truly developmental. With those words, I once again welcome you warmly to KU, and may this celebration inspire us all to champion a sporting culture that uplifts, protects, and unites. Thank you and karibuni sana.
In football, although they are called indomitable lion, but of recent they seems to be losing track of their records anyway. But they are still doing well, and we hope that the upcoming AFCON, Madam Chair mentioned, will be another opportunity to see them, including Kenya. So let me build on the protocol that has been established and to really thank the leadership of KU for hosting us for this International Day of Sport, University Sport. So, esteemed guests, esteemed lecturers, faculty members, students, ladies and gentlemen, the event that we are sharing today is really in line with UNESCO appreciation of the day itself, a collaboration with its establishment back in 2015 has been a collaboration between the International Federation of Universities and UNESCO, and we have had, in a very short and challenging time, approached our GA partners from KU to be able to host us. And the simple fact of us being here today means that they have really taken up the challenge, and for us to all be here to champion this International Day. So I want really to appreciate. It has been some sleepless day, and especially nights, to make it happen. We have been on in some Zoom calls very late, and I've really enjoyed the process that has led us to be here today. So today we gather to celebrate the International Day of University Sport. And as we do that, we reaffirm our collective belief in the transformative power of sport within higher education. This day is not merely symbolic. It is a call to action, a reminder of the critical role university play in sharing not only in shaping not only minds, but also character, leadership, and communities. UNESCO remains deeply committed to promoting sport and quality physical education as essential pillars of inclusive, equitable, and holistic education. Sport is not a luxury. It is a right, and a fundamental right for that matter. It fosters resilience, teamwork, discipline, and respect, values that are indispensable for academic excellence and personal growth. In classroom and in playing fields, students learn to lead, to collaborate, and to persevere. University sport is a unique platform where intellectual pursuit meets physical endeavor for excellence to thrive. It is there that we see the convergence of knowledge and action, where students are empowered to become agents of change. By integrating sports into academic fabric, universities can cultivate environments that nurture well-rooted individuals prepared to tackle the challenge of our time. Indeed, this day is also an opportunity to remind ourselves that sport holds transformative power to advance gender equality, especially within university campuses where young women and girls are shaping their future. By promoting inclusive access to sport, not only as athletes, but also as students, academics, and leaders, institutions can foster environment where women thrive physically, intellectually, and socially. However, this progress hinges on the unwavering commitment to safeguarding standards that protects all participants from abuse, discrimination, and exclusion. Upholding these standards ensures that sport remains a safe and empowering space where women and girls can confidently pursue excellence and leadership. When university champions gender equality and robust safeguarding in sport, they inculcate a culture of respect, resilience, and opportunity, laying the foundation for a more just, inclusive, and prosperous society. Therefore, by putting sport at the heart of dialogue between teachers and students, the International Day of University Sports, celebrated since 2015 by UNESCO and the International University Sport Federation, aims to promote these values among young adults and through them to society as a whole. Dialogue, self-respect, and respect of others, fair play, and pursuit of excellence are all framing principles of student training. Education and sport need to be at the core of our society, and this day provide a forum to highlight the social role of university and their curricula by making sport available to all and encouraging people to exercise regularly. Besides, sport was recognized by the United Nations as an enabler and an accelerator for sustainable development. But what does it mean concretely for the enhancement of quality education? How does it translate into the promotion of health and well-being? How does it contribute to driving social inclusion and to strengthening of community bonds? How does it help achieving gender equality, as my previous speaker said? Indeed, how do we ensure that university is labeled as the natural ground field for attracting, nurturing, and revealing more of the like of Tegla Lorupe, Faith Kipyegon, or even Eliud Kipchoge? How do we harness the education system and notably academic institutions to serve as laboratory for assessing conditions for thriving national and regional sport ecosystem? How do we measure the contribution of sport to the socio-economic development of a country in the first place? How do we inspire the students and empower them to lead initiatives that use sport to build more just, inclusive, and sustainable societies? A more basic question, is there any correlation between the practice of sport activity and academic excellence? These are certainly many questions, yet not exhaustive, And where better than in an academic institution than to raise them, because we have everything it takes to address them in the academic setting. And it's even more interesting to raise them here today at KU, knowing that the institution is aspiring to be a UNESCO chair in sport. So even more to consider this point and to see how hopefully that the recognition as UNESCO chair is firm. How do you take forward this important agenda? Universities as hub for knowledge generation, innovation and leadership can provide evidence that investment in sport translates into tangible socio-economic impact. Indeed, how do we, for instance, determine with confidence that there was value and return on investment for Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda to host CHAN? What anticipated gain do we see in this institution or in these countries to host the upcoming AFCON, as my predecessor also mentioned? Because we really need to be able to do the correlation among all of these and to really see what is the place of the university should play to facilitate the nurturing of talent, to facilitate the creation or the development of leadership skills among those who will take the sport institution and to be able to allow them to thrive. So as I conclude, I want to end with a quote that certainly resonates with this International Day. And it's a quote from Nelson Mandela when he says, "Sport has the power to change the world." And allow me to do a little twist to that and say, university sport has the power to change the world. And really, we are here to reflect together and to explore together the opportunities in sport, not just in academia, but how academia and academic institution can help sport thrive, the values of sports, and not just on campus, but in our whole society. So much so that we are able to build the mindset, the spirit, and the body that will help us as aspiring to the sustainable development and the peaceful coexistence we want to see around us. I thank you for your kind attention. Asante sana.
Energetic? That's the spirit. So my name is Vincent Mugai, representing Special Olympics Kenya on behalf of our CEO, Mr. William Maithia. So he was supposed to be around, but due to other engagements, so he's not able to be with us this morning. But that's notwithstanding, Special Olympics is still here. Because for Special Olympics, we say it's not about an individual, it's a movement. So whether I'm here or not, so Special Olympics will still continue. First, I want to start by taking this chance to appreciate Kenyatta University through our able partner sports department. We have been having this partnership since 2008, if I'm not wrong. Who is Special Olympics then? So for Special Olympics, once we are a sports organization, an NGO, and also a registered federation within our country. Special Olympics has been in existence since 1978, so we're almost 50 years in our country. Across the world, Special Olympics was started in 1968. In Africa, so we were the first one in Africa to start Special Olympics. So we are a global movement, and what we do at Special Olympics, as we offer sports, and in this case, I can proudly say inclusive sports to persons with intellectual disabilities. I know we have so many disabilities. We have other sport federations, Paralympics. Them, they deal with the ones with physical disabilities. So we have Deaf Olympics. Them, they deal with the ones who are deaf. But for Special Olympics, our special niche is for the athletes with intellectual disabilities. The reason why we also participating in celebrating International Day of University Sports, our athletes may not get a chance to attend university. But through the partnership we have with KU, I can tell you, some of those learners, some of those athletes, they never went beyond class 8. Some of them, maybe they even never went to school. But they can proudly come and talk about that every Saturday they go to university. And you cannot convince them otherwise. Some of them know KU than us. They are able to access some of the facilities offered by the prestigious university, Kenyatta University. They are able to use the gym. They are able to use the swimming pool. They are able to use all the grounds. And for me, I can proudly say, if I was told to show me one place where there is inclusion, KU, I think, will be on my number one list. Yeah. So, which has happened since 2008, and allow me to say, I don't know whether I'm allowed to say this, but I will still say it because I have the platform. They access Kenyatta University without paying a single cent. So, for us at Special Olympics, and not only Special Olympics Kenya, but Special Olympics across the world, if you mention Kenyatta University, even at Washington, they know there's a place, Special Olympics Kenya, trains place called Kenyatta University. Then, how do we then now bring inclusive sports? When we talk about inclusion, in every person's mind, it is where we include people with disabilities in our lives. But now for Special Olympics, as we do reverse inclusion, we don't include people with disability in your life. We include you in their life. Remember, there's a statement that says, there is nothing for us without us. You cannot be able to talk about rights of people with disability if you don't involve them. They know better. So that's why we say, instead of them going out of their way to understand you, why can't us who are able-bodied go out of our way to understand their needs, and not only understand their needs, we be empathetic enough and be able to facilitate them, not to help them, facilitate them to be able to achieve their best. And through that one, for Special Olympics since 1978, we have managed to enroll about 70,000 people with intellectual disability across the country. And since 1980-something, we have been attending the Special Olympics World Games. So Special Olympics World Games is equivalent of Olympics that happened in Paris last year. Our recent engagement was in 2023, the Summer Games that were held in Berlin, where Kenya took a delegation of about 92. Out of 92, 66 of them were athletes with intellectual disabilities. And when they went back, they were participating in 11 sport disciplines. So when they came back with 15 gold medals. Out of the 15 gold medals, 10 of them were individual sports and 5 of them were team sports. Also, they had 8 silver medals and 5 bronze medals. So for us, what we are trying to say through this, and one of the things why we are proud of KU is the students, the sports students, the sports science, the recreation, and the PE students within the departments are one of our volunteer coaches. Year in, year out. Even today, they are in the field. If you get a moment, pass by the field. Go and see people with intellectual disabilities if you have never seen them. They can play. They can do what you and me can be able to do. They can be able to swim. And actually, some of them are so good in sports. It's only that maybe academically, that's where the challenges are. But as far as the sports is concerned, these are people, if the inclusion is done in the right way, then you find they are going to thrive. Lastly, as we offer inclusion through something called unified sports. Before 1990s, Special Olympics was only dealing with people with intellectual disabilities. Anybody else without intellectual disability, either you are a coach or you are a fan in the stands. But now, since 1990s, we have a revolution that happened, the inclusive revolution. So through inclusive sports, what we are doing, people with intellectual disabilities and people without intellectual disabilities, they train together. Apart from training together, they go for competitions together. Let me just give an example in a nutshell. A volleyball team is made up of 6 players within the field. Out of the 6, 3 of them will have intellectual disabilities, 3 don't have any intellectual disability. They train together, then the coach will do the skill assessments, whether 3 or 4 of them. Then the difference between the highly skilled and the lowly skilled must not be more than 15%. Now that's a unified team that we form, and that team is as competitive as any other team. Such that when you are outside, if you are a fan, you are not supposed to tell the difference between someone with a disability and someone without disability as far as the skill execution is concerned. So that's what we are aiming for. And through sports, we use sports as a medium to achieve inclusion. And for Special Olympics, I can comfortably say that, yes, we are not yet there, but we are almost there. So with that one, I want to encourage you, invite you to come and join Special Olympics, especially for the students who are here. So we are going to have a session through Dr. Jane later, not today, but where we are going to come and tell you more about Special Olympics. So thank you so much for hosting and for hosting Special Olympics. Thank you.
Our keynote speaker, Dr. Hesbon Owila, the representative from UNESCO Regional Office, Mr. Ngandu Ngata, the chairperson of the department, Dr. Julia Githanga, and the representative from Special Olympics, Mr. Vincent Mungai. All protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I feel greatly honored to join you today in the celebration of the International Day of University Sport. And I'm also greatly honored to represent the Dean, the Executive Dean, School of Health Sciences in today's event. As you've heard, my name is Dr. James Ogutu. I come from the Department of Medical Microbiology and Parasitology in the School of Health Sciences, and also currently the Deputy Executive Dean, Graduate School. We'll delve directly into the Vice Chancellor's speech, but before I do, today brings a lot of nostalgia for me, because at one point of my life, I considered myself a sports person, to be specific, an athlete. It was not until I was in Form 3 that I discovered that I could seriously run. Those who see me today cannot believe it. But even my father then, when he was told how I used to run, did not believe it. He would have wanted to see me on the tracks running. The long story short, it was during the athletics games in our school, a small school in the village. During those days when we were in school, there was this day that I decided to take part in the, is it called 4 by 100 meters, this relay. And the person who was running with me, which was the third relay, I don't know how to call it, but the person who gives the last person the baton. This gentleman was a footballer, and he used to play fullback. And if you took the ball in front of him, he was very fast. He could, in a second, outrun you to take the ball back. However, he was given the baton right in front of me. But as the other students cheered on, I saw him remaining behind me. And the whole school was on fire. And that day, I discovered that I could seriously run. The sports came, the zonals, I was number 1. The district, I was number 1. The races I was running were all 400 meters. 400 meters flat, 400 meters relay, and the other one is 400 meters hurdles. I went with all the 3 of them to the provincials. When we reached the provincials, I met guys that had jerseys written Kenya. Branded Kenya. Those were professional athletes. I don't know how they were running with us then, but I was only able to get number 3 in one of the 400 meters flat, and that is where my journey with athletics ended. At the university level, I don't know what happened, but somehow I lost interest. But there are 2 things I did at the university level. I threw the discus and the javelin at the bachelor's degree level, at the master's degree level, and later on, when I had become an adult athlete, at the PhD level, and that one for the PhD was very interesting because the first time I went to the field was a good stadium. It was in northern China. And when I threw the javelin, it broke in the air. Yes, it broke into 2, but it still went and hit on the right side. It hit the ground on the right side, and that was my best as well. And it was the first prize. So I remember when I joined you here, I joined you with a lot of nostalgia. I don't know where I will reactivate it, but Dr. Jane Kamau has been inducting me into sports research slowly, and I'm taking very keen interest. Let me go to the speech, because today is the Vice Chancellor's Day. Our keynote speaker, Dr. Hesbon Hansen Owila, research lead, Aga Khan University Graduate School, Media and Communications, representatives from NATCOM and the UNESCO Regional Office for East Africa, senior government officials present, members of the university management and Senate here present, colleagues, students, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my great honor and privilege to warmly welcome you all to Kenyatta University for the celebration of the International Day of University Sport, IDES 2025. I sincerely thank UNESCO, NATCOM, faculty, students, and all stakeholders who have made this day possible. Your presence here reflects the value we collectively place in sport as a driver of education, inclusion, peace, and development. As many of you are aware, the International Day of University Sport was proclaimed by UNESCO in 2015 as an annual platform for universities worldwide to reflect on and advance the role of sport in higher education. Today, we gather not only to celebrate, but also to reaffirm our commitment to making sport safe, inclusive, and transformative for our students and communities. This year's theme, Safeguarding in university sports, advancing safe, inclusive, and development-driven athletes could not be more timely. 1, it reminds us that sport must remain a safe space, free from harassment, violence, discrimination, and exploitation. 2, it emphasizes inclusivity, ensuring that men, women, and persons with disabilities participate equally in sport. 3, it calls on us to nurture athletes not just for competition, but as holistic individuals who contribute to community development and national progress. As the East African region prepares to co-host the AFCON 2027, universities like ours have a vital role to play. And these roles are in research and innovation for safe and sustainable sports practices. Also, in championing gender equality and safeguarding policies. Again, in preparing students and communities to embrace sport as a tool for peace, cohesion, and national pride. At Kenyatta University, we take much pride in being a leading institution in physical education, sports science, and inclusive sport development. Through Kenyatta University TV, our sports facilities, and community engagement, we aim to be a continental hub for knowledge sharing, talent development, and safe sport advocacy. I therefore urge, 1, our students to embrace sport not just as play, but as a discipline that builds character.
To the Vice Chancellor's representative, Dr. Agutu, I hope I got it right, Ogutu, senior lecturers in the room, heads of departments, deans, professors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Before I go to the keynote address, let me just speak briefly about myself and why I think I am here. First, I am here to represent the Dean, Professor Nancy Buka, who is the Dean, Graduate School of Media and Communications at Aga Khan University. Aga Khan University has 3 academic entities and so many institutes. Not many people know that there's a school that deals with journalism and media studies. So we all know of the Medical College, School of Nursing and Midwifery, but you also have a graduate school. Now, probably you're wondering, why is a graduate school for media and communications involved in sports issues? Let me just give a brief background. So sometimes in 2023, we got support from Global Affairs Canada to run and implement a project titled Advancing Gender Equality in the Media and Civil Society. And that project has 5 outputs. It has 5 outputs. 1 is to help media houses establish gender desks. Number 2 is to build capacity through fellowships. Number 3 is to advance continuous professional development. And then number 4 is research. which I lead. And number 5 is training, because we are a training institution. So sometimes last year we did a study on state of women in the media. We invited Honorable Harriet Chigai, who is the President's advisor on gender equality, on women's rights, as the chief guest. And then she gave us the idea to focus on sports. And we ended up doing a study on sexual and gender-based violence in sports in East Africa. And I want to believe that's why Dr. Jane Kamau and the UNESCO team invited us. So my keynote address is drawn from this study. We launched it on 17th of July, if I'm not so wrong. And we are very happy because of the impact the study has had, the conversations it has generated, the invites we've received to speak about what we found. But as Hesbon Owila, I did not run. I cannot run to save myself. And I know there are 2 races that are very difficult if you're an athlete. The most difficult is 800 meters. And I'm sure you know that, the 2 laps. The second most difficult is 400 meters. So when you say that at the provincial level, you're doing 400 meters and you're doing extremely well, you ought to have been an athlete. You would have represented Kenya very well. But I've done sports, so I played football. Everywhere I played football, I think I was good enough, fairly good enough. The people I played with in high school played all the way up to Harambee Stars. And unlike him, who won medals and realized when he was competing people with jerseys written Kenya, me, I was picked out of the football pitch by our deputy principal, who thought football was not for me. But I pursued football, and I have my master's thesis was on football, the uses and gratifications of the televised English Premier League. All my assignments were on football because I loved football until I realized there is money in politics. So I went to politics. That's why my PhD research is in politics. But in football, I keep telling people I've been there, I have done that, and I have moved on. So for those of you who celebrated Chan and are looking forward to AFCON, probably you know, and I am not blowing my own trumpet, were it not for Hesbon Owila and my team of 4 other electoral board members and 5 in the secretariat, wouldn't have had Chan. Anyone who resonates with that? So sometimes last year, I was tasked with the responsibility of running the FKF elections. So the elections, I'm the one who gave Hussein Mohammed and Mariga the certificate that they won the election. And I pride myself as among the few Kenyans who've presided over free, fair, transparent, credible, and verifiable elections. Today, if you want to know who won in Migori County, where I come from, you will get all the details. But it was not easy. If you know football and football politics, it was not easy. But I finished the election and resigned immediately because my call is teaching and not football politics. So back to, that is the brief interaction I've had with football, and I hope Chan will be here. They don't like us anymore because the team that put us in office did not win. And the team that is in office thinks that we were favoring the other team. But we were not interested in favoring people. We just did an election and moved on. So back to the speech, that it borrows heavily from our research. So at some point, I will just speak about what those findings are. And because this is a speech by my boss, let me do what she would have done. The Vice Chancellor representative who is here, representatives from UNESCO, distinguished academicians, dear students, esteemed colleagues, fellow advocates for safe and inclusive sports. Today, as we gather to celebrate International University Sports Day, we must also confront a sobering reality. While sports is a space of joy, discipline, and excellence, our study also shows that it has become, for too many women and girls, a site of fear, exploitation, and violence. Recent data from across East Africa, that is Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, paints a troubling picture. The prevalence of sexual and gender-based violence in sports is alarmingly high at 62% across Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. In Kenya, it is even worse because in 2022 it was at 43, but in 2024-2025, our data shows that it was at staggering 69% of women who reported experiencing sexual and gender-based violence. This is not just statistics. This is a crisis that we must confront and create safe spaces for women and girls in sports. Equally troubling is the perception of vulnerability. In Kenya, nearly 9 in 10 of the athletes, the administrators, football managers, and coaches that we interviewed believe that 89% of female athletes are more vulnerable to sexual and gender-based violence. This is a clarion call. We must create safe spaces and institutionalize safeguarding measures in every sporting environment, whether it is a club, sports offices, schools, or in the field. Our deeper analysis reveals a painful pattern, extremely painful, that the longer women remain in sports, the more likely they are to experience abuse. Early career athletes often underreport, not because they are spared, but because they lack the knowledge or the confidence to identify, name, and label the abuse. I grew up in Kapsabet in Nandi County when I was in campus, and this is my first time in KU. That's why I got lost. And my sincere apologies for showing up late. It's a beautiful university. I was in a very small university called Maseno University. And you can imagine, so Maseno, back when I was in campus and KU the way it is. So because of my formative years in Kapsabet, I wanted to go back and experience Kapsabet. So I went and did my internship in Kapsabet town.